that's what leveled the playing field, really, was being able to advertise on the internet by everyday people.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for joining us again on our second act with Paige and Silka. Today, our expert segment with Laurie Conrod continues, talking about becoming an entrepreneur after 50. Laurie, thanks so much for joining us again.
I'm so excited to be here again.
Well, if you missed our last segment, I'll link to that so you can get the background on Laurie and what we discussed, really about the, I wouldn't maybe call it phenomena, although it somewhat is to me, that the largest group of or segment of entrepreneurs now is between the age of 55 and 64. 26% of all entrepreneurs fall into that category, and they're growing. And we discussed on the last segment how Laurie, as a digital online marketing specialist, helps people, leverage the internet, etc. And, on some level, the purpose of that segment was to make it not sound easy, but doable. The internet has leveraged the playing field for us. What we want to focus on in this segment is realistic expectations and understanding what it does take. And Laurie, you and I both having done that, being of, as we call it, the same vintage, I'd like to hear from you, your advice dealing with people in our situation, what it takes to become an entrepreneur and take that step and be successful.
So I think that there's several reasons why people choose to be an entrepreneur at our age. One is they don't have enough money saved and they're worried about their retirement. There's the people that have plenty of money, but they want something different to do because maybe they are retiring at 55 and they don't want to just sit on the couch all day. So they're interested in doing something different. And then there's people that do want to get out of corporate sooner rather than later, before 65, and want to do something completely different. And, different people, different goals. But the bottom line is, if you're going to have a business, entrepreneurship is a completely different mindset than having a job. And I think most people know that on a superficial level, for sure. But it's you. It's up to you. And I've watched a lot of people do this part-time, and that's totally fine. It really depends on what your goals are and how big you want to grow your business. But you can end up, having to learn a lot of new skills and having it be a big commitment, unless you can hire people to do things you don't want to do, right? So it is a big commitment. It's extremely fulfilling, especially when you have something you really want to put out there into the world, some kind of a skill that you want to help people with and make a huge difference. It's a huge motivator. And so most entrepreneurs that are committed to entrepreneurship don't care about the hours, don't care about how much time they put into it. And it doesn't have to be that way. It depends on what your goals are. But it's definitely a life-changing and lifestyle-changing thing. You're not probably going to be 9 to 5. If it's a big project that you're undertaking.
Yeah. Well, and then there's the financial part. How risk adverse are you to whatever financial commitment is necessary? And it can be from very little to, yes, building something, very much on your own. What do you think are some of the biggest obstacles that we have to understand and, be ready to overcome?
Well, having your own business, let's look at something non-brick and mortar, right? Something that you can do. Most people want to work from anywhere. Right. Not everybody, but maybe you want to open up a restaurant. That's a completely different deal than opening up a home-based business, or one that you can work anywhere from the internet, like a consulting business or something like that. And what makes it so what makes it so attractive to have an internet-based business is that overhead is pretty low. You don't have to rent a space. You don't have to rent an office. You don't have to have all these overhead things. You will have online tools that you have to pay for. And I always promote paid advertising because it's the fastest way to grow your business. So you'll have to have a marketing budget. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, is that they'll maybe if they're selling a physical product, they'll put all of their focus on creating that physical product and all their money into that. But they'll all of a sudden have this product and they don't know how to market it, and they don't have a marketing budget.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good that physical product is. If you can't pay and spend and invest to market it, it's not going to get out there.
Well, and that's what's so, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think what's important to mention, especially those listening who are not familiar with what paid advertising online even comes out to be, it's like nothing compared to what it used to be when we talk about paid advertising and marketing budgets. I mean, I shared this. I mean, I have an MBA, I have a marketing background, I was a media buyer, I was an advertiser. The world is so different, and how budgets are allocated is so different, and that's what makes it both exciting, I guess, and scary. But you're right, that commitment needs to be there.
And you bring up such a good point, Silke, because that's what leveled the playing field, really, was being able to advertise on the internet by everyday people. You can run ads on Facebook for $5 a day, $10 a day. I can't run TV ads or print ads like the old days. That's all that was available, right? Or, full page ads or big ads in newspapers and stuff.
And they were expensive. We're talking thousands of dollars for one ad, hundreds certainly, yeah.
Yes, and with social media advertising, you can test your ads long before you invest big money in them, and that's what's leveled the playing field huge.
Yeah, and obviously in this segment, we're not doing, teaching you how to do this. We really what we want to get across is the ability to now do this and get more information, from somebody such as Laurie, and we're going to, link to all of our information should you choose to contact Laurie directly. We're in about 7 minutes in. We have about 3 more minutes. Any top tips that you would like to share that you think is important?
I'd love to share. Like when I first started, I did dip into my IRA and my 401k to help grow my business. And my accountant at the time said, okay, so of course I paid penalties and income tax on that money. And, as I grew over the years and expanded into making connections with smarter people, which I don't know how else to say it, I discovered that you actually can fund a business through IRA money without paying the penalties and the taxes. And I won't go into the details of that, but when I found that out, it was amazing. And it all came about because of after the crash in '08, the government came up with all these legal ways to do that because so many people had lost so much money. And so recently, about a year or so ago, I was able to do that to help fund my business, some growth that I wanted through, money that is untouchable. Without penalties. So I just want to get that out there for anyone who's thinking about, well, I want to do this, but all my money's in my 401k or my IRA and I can't touch it, and I don't want to touch it.
Right. Laurie, thank you so much. Again, we will link to all of your information. I encourage you to get in touch with Laurie. I've said it on other shows and other topics. Sometimes it's difficult to take advice from much younger people. It depends on the situation, but there's always something about bonding with somebody that has gone through it, that understands where you come from. So while there's lots of smart people out there, it's wonderful to have that, to me anyway, and that woman to woman connection. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again on our second act with Paige and Silke. For more information on following your passion and starting a business after 50, please visit our website, secondact.tv, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. Button's right over here. See you next time.